it is due on Sunday, October 4th. So you have about 2 weeks to finish it and submit your lab report for that one. It is by midnight. So make sure that you keep the time, keep the date, and submit anything by the deadline. Couple of things about lab assignment number 2. In assignment number 1, we work with LabVIEW, and I was under the impression that most of you have not seen LabVIEW before, so it's pretty much an introduction or an introductory lab for you guys to work with LabVIEW. However, lab number 2 doesn't have anything to do with LabVIEW. It is MATLAB and Simulink. And I am under the impression that almost everybody here have seen MATLAB or Simulink. So it is not any more about the introduction, forming the loop, and so on. It is direct to the point to go and work with the control systems toolboxes or control system, let's say that techniques that you have seen or you will be seeing it in the 370. So it is very much about that, both using MATLAB and using Simulink. So that's about lab assignment number 2. I think for lab assignment number 3, we again go back to LabVIEW and work with LabVIEW. Lab assignment number 4, we go back again to MATLAB and work with MATLAB. So that's how it's been designed. Before continuing on the announcements, anybody here in this course who have not taken any course in MATLAB, please raise your hand, so I will be aware of that. Anybody who have not taken any course in MATLAB. The reason that I am asking is I am under the impression that you have been exposed to MATLAB, or at least you have taken EE202, which was pretty much about MATLAB. I have been told that some of the students who have taken EE202, they did not see MATLAB in EE202, which is a little bit strange for me, but just want to double check. Again, let me ask you, is there anybody who is here and who has not been working with MATLAB before or have seen MATLAB before? Nobody? Okay, so that's one thing. Any question about lab assignment number 2, the deadline, and what you're supposed to do for lab assignment number 2?
I looked it over. It looked pretty straightforward.
Okay, good. It's very similar to lab number 1 in case that one report per group. The only thing that I have to let you know, I have gone through just very briefly through some of the lab reports for lab number 1. I haven't yet started grading them, so I don't know what you did yet. But I have noticed one very important element which is missing in some of your report, not in all of yours. Remember, guys, I told you that in any part and any subsection of your report, you have to let me know 2 things. One is each member of your team contribution in writing the report. And the second one, each member contribution in doing the lab. So these are the 2 that you have to let me know in each subsection when you are getting into that. I have seen some of the lab reports that they did talk about contribution pretty much at the end, or maybe at the beginning, and said that this is the contribution for the entire report. No, I want to see it for each subsection, any part of the report. So for each subsection that you get in, you have to let me know each member, because I have seen again some report that says that this part has been done by Mr. X. No, I want to know that what was the contribution of Mr. Y as well. So both team members. It is absolutely okay, and I have seen it in some of the reports that one students are taking the lead, and over there I have seen that the contribution is 100% in, for example, subsection 1. Or for example, the contribution is 100% in writing the report. That's absolutely fine. However, make sure that as much as possible, you sort of balance the work for each subsection. And the reason that I'm asking and I'm telling you that it is not that you're doing one thing and the other team member do the other thing and you're not familiar and aware of what the other people is doing. That's not the whole purpose of this thing. You need to know all the details, so you should be working together. However, I am expecting that one person will take the lead on one part, the other person take the lead on the other. So if I see, for example, 100% one subsection, 100% in another section, that's fine. But if half of the, let's say that the report or half of the effort is just one person and the other person haven't done anything, that's not good, because again, remember that this is teamwork and it's not just dividing things, it's basically collaborating. So take that into account. Any question, guys, about collaboration and the effort that you put in?
So, Professor,
who is asking me that question? Please raise your hand. Is it you, Nick?
It is me, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Are you wanting both lab members to help write the lab as well as perform the sections?
Yes, as much as possible. At least I don't want one of you to take the lead and write the whole lab. No, that's not. You may want to go, for example, for subsection 1, the other person go to the subsection 2, and so on, take the lead on that. But again, I am not happy to see that it is just 100% you and not any 10% or 20% by your teammate. Remember that this is collaboration, is not dividing the lab between you and your team. Make sense?
Yes.
Nick?
Okay, yes, it
good.
does.
Hey, Professor, this is Siavash. I had a question. So do you want every
Siavash,
subsection to have
there is some background noise in your voice. Yeah, go ahead. I just want to let you know about that. Go ahead.
all right, so for each subsection, do you want like for instance, you want percentage for the report and percentage for writing the report for
No.
each subsection?
For each subsection, I want to know about the percentage of your effort in writing the report and percentage of your effort in doing that subsection. Doing the lab, performing the lab. So two things. One, writing the report. The second one is doing the actual work, doing the lab.
Understood.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Sure. Any other questions? Okay. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about the lab components. For lab number 2, you are not going to use any lab components, but I am expecting that starting lab number 3, you will need some of those components. So if you haven't yet prepared the lab components, please go ahead and rush it up and bring it in. And the reason that I am again asking you, because I would be saying that I have let you know at the beginning of the, let's say that at the beginning of the lab, and I am under the impression that you will schedule it by now. But during the weekend, a couple of things happened to me, which again encouraged me to talk to you and sort of forced me to talk to you. During the lab, I have received email from students that how should I, let's say that, install LabVIEW on my computer, something like that. I was under the impression that we have talked about that, and it is just one day before the report that you have to submit. It is sort of late to go ahead and right now you want to go ahead and download the LabVIEW. So that's the reason that I wanted to let you know that do not wait for the last minute. If you wait for the last minute, you may not be able to finish it. So go ahead, try to get them in, give yourself some time. Most probably starting lab 3, we will work with some of the equipments that I listed for you before. Any question about the equipments and the components? No questions? Okay. So that's